Hello guys, I hope you're well today. In this video, I'm going to talk about motorcycle chain maintenance. There are so many and very informative videos on YouTube how to clean and lubricate your chain. Actually, you don't need another one. I'm not going to teach you how to do it because it's a very simple procedure and everybody could do it, even your kids. What I will do is to show you a different point of view. I will try to push you to see the full picture instead of watching one very small point and spending so much time and money on it. Stay with me. The reason to make this video is a comment from one of my subscribers. Seriously underrated channel. You make great and enjoyable video content which helps me a lot as a newish rider. Thank you, my friend. I am glad that you find it useful. If you're willing and able, perhaps you can make a video of cleaning the chain. I have seen many videos post online, but they contradict each other. Some say use WD-40 to clean the chain and some say don't. Since you're quite experienced, maybe you can provide a better explanation about it. Thank you very much for this comment. Yes, I will try to give you a better explanation. As I promised, I will give you a different point of view, a new way to see the full picture. I will start with the most obvious. The chain needs to be lubricated. But with what and how often is the question everybody asks. There are actually three ways to do it. Number one, to use engine oil or some kind of grease. I will never recommend this method because the oil and the grease collect a lot of dust and they became actually like a sandpaper, especially if you ride off-road. Yes, it might be very cheap, but as a result you're gonna wear your chain and sprockets much faster. Actually, it will last longer if you leave it without any care. Number two is to use a proper chain lubricant. Spray it once per 3 or 500 kilometers and once per 3 or maybe 5,000 kilometers. Just clean it with the proper cleaner and then dry it and spray it again. Actually, I like this method. I think this is more than enough, but we'll talk about it later on. About the W40, I never use it to clean or lubricate my chain. I don't have my personal experience and I cannot really talk about it. It will be very useful to check the substances it's made from and see if they can or they cannot harm the O-rings of your chain. And number three is the oiler. Many of you love it because once you install it, you don't need to do anything. It just works all the time without any problems. It's not exactly like that, but we'll talk about it later. And now, before we start with the important parts, let's have a closer look on the modern motorcycle chains. There are many types of chains, but I'm gonna talk about the two most famous, with or without O-rings. The O-ring chains have the same parts as the normal chains with one small difference, these small rubber seals. What they actually do is to close the hole between the pin and the bushing and keep the factory grease in. The normal chains or the chains without O-rings don't have it, so the factory grease will disappear much faster. Many of the dirt bikes use it, but I'm almost sure that your bike has a normal O-ring chain and it has a factory grease in. Actually, the life of the chain depends on that grease. Once it's gone, the chain starts to stuck and not rolling properly and it needs to be changed. So, do we really need to clean it and lubricate it all the time? Yes, to prevent it from rust, to stop the dust going between the rollers and the bushing and keep the seals in good condition. But here comes the important but. It doesn't really matter how often you're gonna clean or spray it, it cannot really extend the life of your motorcycle chain. As I said at the beginning, it depends from the factory grease inside. As long as it has it, the chain will be fine. Here, many of you guys will try to convince me that I'm not right. More you lubricate it, longer it will live. Okay guys, I'm not here to argue with you, whatever you like, but I tried both, with the proper care and without any care. And guess what? The result was absolutely the same. So how often we have to clean and lubricate the chain? This guys depends from you and from your riding style. If you ride your motorcycle every day and it is mostly off-road, rain or muddy conditions, you have to clean it as often as possible. But if you ride it only in the weekends, sunny days, once per month or once per 2 months is more than enough. I'm sorry guys, I cannot tell you how often you have to clean your chain because I don't know your riding style, but I can tell you what I do. I use this dry lube and spray it once per week, always when I stop riding, when the chain is hot. Clean it and lubricate it properly once per few months. There are some exceptions when I'm going to ride a lot of off-road or sand or something like that, but usually there are not so many. When I'm on the long trip, I just spray it once per day. Later in the evening, when we finish the ride, spray the chain, and that's all, nothing more. With this type of care, or without a proper care, whatever you want to name it, my chains usually last about 20,000 kilometers, which is more than enough for me. And now let's talk about the oilers. For many of you guys, they are very important because the chain could last 30, 40, up to 50,000 kilometers. I personally cannot believe that the chain could last that long. Yes, it will look nice and clean always, but it doesn't mean that it's still in the factory specifications. Wearing process is not really depend from the outside lubrication. It depends from the type of the chain you used, from the power of your engine, and from your riding style. If you race it, it will finish quick. If you're a gentle rider, it will last longer. And it doesn't matter, do you have oiler or not. Let's go to the real numbers. Guys, most of you riding between 10 and 20,000 kilometers per year, which is mean that once per year or once per 2 years you have to buy a new chain. Good quality chain, include the sprockets, will cost you about $100. During that period, 10 or 20,000 kilometers, you're gonna use about 5 different sprays to lubricate the chain. Altogether will cost you about $150. $150 per year. Guys, you're spending 10 times more for your Starbucks coffee. If you cannot afford $150 per year for your motorcycle, just sell it and buy a bicycle, or take the train or the public transportation, whatever. Good quality oiler will cost you about $150. Maybe you have to pay to someone to install it on your motorcycle. Then you will need extra oil and some more gadgets, so all together it's going to be about $200. From this simple calculation, you see that the oiler will cost you more and you still have to buy the chain and sprockets. And now you'll resist, yeah, but after that I can use it for many years. Many years? How long you going to ride this motorcycle? 10 years? Are you sure about it? What is going to be your next choice? Can you use the same oiler on your next bike? What about if you buy GS 1200 Adventure with the drive shaft? Even from the economical point of view, it's much better to start with the simple way. Just spray it. I'm not going to talk about the moments when the oiler is not working properly and when all of your bike and the riders behind you looks like a train from 19th century. And my final words will be, guys, focus on the trip, not so much on the bike. The bike is just a tool, just a vehicle to help you to make your adventures. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for a new video every week. Ride safe. Ciao.